Like I said, win or lose this, I would have been extremely proud of them. Obviously, they grinded through and gave us everything they could, and the fact that they were rewarded with a victory, I think, is apropos. And obviously, we've got our fingers, legs, everything that we can cross, we're going to cross, and hopefully the committee respects the fact that we have 37 wins on the West Coast, and that's not easy to do. And there's teams that are hosting that have about that many wins and so forth. And hopefully the hole we dug early, they'll respect the fact that we're a different ball club. We got different personnel, different pitchers, Josh Graham's performance, and we're playing pretty darn good at this point. So, like I continue to say, they have a very difficult job, but hopefully they'll respect the fact that they think that we're one of the 64 best teams.
Do you feel comfortable watching tomorrow morning?
I'll be nervous as heck. There's a lot of things at stake. You start on September 7th or even before that. And the time invested by staff, players, myself. I've been on the wrong side of that. It's uncontrollable. So I guess the mature George Horton would say I can't control it, so why worry about it? But whether you're a parent or a coach or a businessman, the stock market, you play that. The things you can't control, you worry about. So I'll worry about it. They don't. They do a very good job of not leaking stuff. Unfortunately, even back in the days that I had my athletic directors on the committee, they were very reluctant. They're very professional, as you would imagine, and they have a lot of scrutiny and a lot of pressure. And I guess we've got 3 good friends on that committee and strong voices that know what West Coast baseball is all about. But then there's also a bias for the rest of the country. I think what we would hope for, and I've heard it's not going exactly this way, the fewer upsets that there are in these conference tournaments, the better for us. What that means is it opens up some spots for some at-large berths. So when you're in our position and you're on the outside edge of the bubble, you just hope that all the favorites win. And from what I understand, that's not necessarily going that way. So.
Did you tell Augie that he didn't need to win today?
Did Augie win?
Yeah, they won it.
Nice, congrats.
That's one of those.
Yeah, that's one of those. Sure, they were on the. But I love Coach Garrido. I wouldn't be in this position without him, and certainly rooting for him. And not at this team's expense, certainly, but good for Augie. Congratulations. I'm glad he's in there.
You're pretty familiar with how the committee goes about their business. How much do they reward teams peaking kind of towards the end, being hot at the right time? So,
Tyson, they look at everything. You would be amazed at, they'll come across to the public or to you and hang their hat on 1 or 2 criteria. But when it gets down to the last 4 or 5 teams, they have conference against conference record. It's not just as simple as an RPI or a feeling. They've got head-to-head. They've got comparisons. Good news is there's some baseball people on that committee now, and not that athletic directors are stupid and naive, but they get it. I guess the best way to say it, they're not going to. It's not an educated guess. It's an educated. I guess I wouldn't want to say that I would second guess them if they leave us out, because I know that it won't just be RPI. For instance, our RPI is crummy. I don't get that. I don't get the new formula and all that stuff. Simply you take our last 15 games and what we've done there. You take 37 wins on the West Coast. You take a Pac-12 team that's 16 and 14. That's not easy to do, and it's almost what bothers me sometimes is the ACC, SEC, 16 and 14, and those leagues get to host. And it's like, really? Is that? Because I'm going to go on record, the Pac-12 is the best baseball conference in the country. We have the most national championships, most coaches in our league with national championships. We have most guys in the big leagues, and for some reason it doesn't always equate that way. But again, I'm not setting up any kind of criticism towards that committee. What I'll go to bed thinking tonight is that those guys will work very hard to figure out who the right teams are.
Look, Graham today, giving you 9.
Yeah, spectacular. We haven't had a complete game all year.
Yeah.
And of course the bullpen was extremely decimated, and Nogo gave us 5 outs, and Club gave us 1 out. That was going to be it for him. That's all we would ask of him. And it was a championship effort by those two guys too, to want the ball and come back and help the team win. But had we been successful in the bottom of the ninth, then we get a complete game win. And it's unfortunate that Josh had one inning get away from him. We walked two guys, and that ended up being that 2-run inning. And the changeup was a pitch I called, and Kramer did a nice job of hitting it over the fence. And, Josh Graham doesn't surprise me. His mentality rose to the occasion. An Oregonian, hopefully put us in this position. And the story would just continue to get better if we make it into the playoffs. That an Oregonian helped pitch us into the playoffs. And once you get into the dance, anything can happen.
What was his count today? Or you know what he went to?
108, I think. 114.
I'm assuming that's the most he's thrown this
Yeah,
year.
threw 103 last week, and he's been building towards that. To be honest with you, he did not want. He wanted to go another inning. I wasn't going to let him. So he's a warrior, and you always worry. Even bringing Novo and Kleb back, those guys have professional careers, and you have to be the adult. You want to win. Cole Irvin wanted the ball for a couple outs, and that's always dangerous. That happens. And so we didn't have to toe that line too much, and we got the win. We called it a super regional. Heck, we could have swept maybe arguably the best team in the country, or one of the best teams in the country. So that body of work in itself, plus what everything else we've done, I think hopefully the committee will recognize that, as I continue to say.
Do you think the Pac-12 needs to start a conference tournament at all, or do you prefer this straight up?
I've never been an advocate of a conference tournament. The only reason you would do that would be it'd be a revenue maker. It gives you a few more wins. As you notice across the country, the team that's in for sure typically bags the whole thing. TCU loses 2, and they know they're going to host and all that. It's just a kind of a way to add another team into the deal. I think the automatic bid should be UCLA. Baseball's that kind of sport. It's a 30-game grinder deal, and whoever has the best record after 30 games deserves to be the automatic, not one weekend of play, get hot, and that kind of thing. And so I don't know anywhere that they could host it, really, that would bring the fans out enough. We'd have to have some underwriters, some sponsorship. Probably the most logical thing would be here in Oregon State. They have great following, so do we, and we'd probably be able to draw a great crowd if we hosted the Pac-12 championships here.
How difficult was it to give Bryant and Chase the start today on senior day? Or was it a hard decision at all?
Well, a little bit. We're almost sentimental to a fault. Those kids have invested a lot. They're leadership guys. Sean's had a crummy year, and he would tell you that. It isn't because he wanted to have a crummy year and got delegated to the bench. But Sean's had some real bright spots in this program. So Coach Waz and Coach Ullman and the staff and I thought that both JB Bryan and Sean Chase, the fact that they were seniors and could start and still gives us just as good a chance to win, I thought was pretty cool that they got to start the game.